Okay, I don't know what's up with YouTube. So can anybody hear me? The thing says I'm going live, but that I don't know. Am I live or what? Anyone see me? Weird. Okay, I guess I'll just keep going because the weird little back end things, like I use OBS for here to transmit to YouTube, and then they have a thing there that receives it, and that thing says that I'm going live. You know what I mean? So, well, whatever. If it's working, it's working. Let's just let's take it. If some of you will remember, last week was kind of like it took us a while just to get the thing flying. So I guess I'll take it and I'll just live with the goofiness over there. You know, if that's the case, I'm going to put OBS over there so I don't have to look at that, and I can just look at the chat over there. I don't need to see the rest of it, frankly. All right. Yeah, I don't need to look at myself that much. All right, so let me get back to the comments. There was a bunch of comments here before I even got on here. All right, Rob, sounds like you got some sleep. Yeah, sorry to hear about your partner leaving Whisper Tiger. And, you know, I vaguely remember the Isle of Man thing. But to be honest, I don't remember all the details. I get so kind of, I don't know, my brain is not, it's difficult for my brain to keep up. Let's see. Okay, people are saying hi. Cracked Crab, hello. Hi, Ben. Chris Mack, hello. Okay, Dylan. Okay. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Hey, Joker. Okay, RJ, well, you know. Hey, the Wizard Tuesday. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's everybody. 3 cheers for the Wizard Tuesday, because that's a groovy thing, man. I really appreciate it. It will, yeah, it helps. Believe me, it does. Okay, so where should we start today? Oh yeah, 30,000. That was kind of a cool thing, I think. So that made me pretty pleased. I mean, it's, you know, it's not a giant milestone, but it's, you know, it's a big milestone for me. So yeah, that made me pleased to see. So I guess now it's like, okay, it took me, let's see, it's just turned 2025, so that's like 12 and a half years to get to 30,000. I wonder if it's possible for me to get to 50,000 before the end of this year. Snowden in Colorado, yikes. Do you ski at all, Tim? Glad you could make it, Dylan. Hey, well, welcome, Jeeves. Is it Jeeves Osiris? Nice. Whereabouts in the UK? If you don't mind my prying. Feel free to just say, you know, whatever. Okay, you know, I think what I'm going to start with, because it just seems to be like the thing to do, I'm going to go ahead and start with some triggers. We'll start with the brushing. How's that? So, doing here, can I do that? Well, you know what, here, I'll lean over here and do it this way first. So, whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, James. Hey, Apostate Mike. Oh, Derbyshire. All right. I've never been to Derbyshire. I'm not even sure where it is, to be honest. So we're brushing the mic over here. Oh, you know, how many of us are there? Let me check that just for... Because if there's a bunch, I'll go ahead and kick off the timer. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kick off the timer. It seems like... Okay. There we are. Blink, blink. All right. So back to the brushing of the microphone while I say nonsense over here, right? Kind of trying to do the... Okay, near Yorkshire, right. Back in 1985, that was the first time I went to the UK. It was that summer. For the month of July, me and a bunch of friends rented a house that was named Ashley that was in Hebden Bridge. That was before it became kind of a posh place for people to move to, but of course it was the 80s, right? So it was Thatcher time, and there was a lot of places that were, you know, Rob's whole evil timer. Right. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other side now. See if I can do it with my left hand and my, yeah, just over here. Try to sort of like, oops, there we go, doing some babbling over here and brushing of the mic over there. So I had an idea that I might get to later tonight, depending on how things go and everybody's enthusiasm for it. Hey, Nasal Penny, glad you could make it. So I found this game called Allure of the Stars, and I'm not sure what it's about. It seems like it's pretty primitive, kind of low-tech kind of thing, but it appealed to me. But I think it's one of those things where you do less click and joystick type, mouse type stuff and more like typing things in. I thought it might be conducive for live stream, trying to be all slow and mellow kind of thing. I don't know. I guess we could find out. Of course, it might be a total flop, and I'll just go play Sokoban too. And another thing I found is a game called Mind Test, which is essentially, it looks like it's a very similar thing to Minecraft, but it's an open source thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to do that live, but I think what I'm going to do is I'll start, well, when I decide to start learning it, I'm going to just record, like, you know, from ground zero, right? You know what I mean? So that the first time I actually open it up to try to do anything with it, I'll try to capture it on OBS, and, well, I won't try, I'll just capture it on OBS, so you guys will be able to see, you know, idiot Bill, you know, from ground zero trying to learn the game. But it looks interesting. It looks like I can do, well, most everything that Minecraft will let me do, but I don't really necessarily want to play a game so much as build places to wander around in. Yeah, Tim, that's the groovy shirt. Of course, I got layers under it because it's cold as a, well, I guess the phrase I remember from my childhood is a witch's tit, right? Colder than a witch's tit. Anyway, so, but I think I'll be able to make, like, my goal is to, like, just make a city in this mind test thing, and then just, you know, after I'm done making it, then I'll just make videos of me wandering around in it, you know. Anyway, that's kind of the plan. Anyways, a couple of comments here. Let me... Evil timer. Minnesota's going to be 20 degrees below. Yikes. Man, that's too cold for me. I mean, let's see, I'll go over here. Yeah, I don't know if I could, I don't don't think I would do well in that cold of weather. I mean, although I suppose, people adapt, right? I mean, we're humans, and humans are pretty good at adapting, but I prefer warm weather to cool weather. But although I don't tolerate the heat as well as I did when I was younger, but wow, -4, yikes. Oh, it's allure. So like one word, allure of the stars. So like you find the stars alluring. Yeah, I'm looking forward to spring, believe me. Well, here's the thing. I'm sure you guys are like thinking, because I think today in California was, I don't know, probably high 60s where I'm at. So that's not that bad, frankly. But again, I'm sure you guys have heard me complain about this enough times, but since my space is partially underground, the earth acts as a heat sink, and this place just gets cold sometimes. It gets really, really cold sometimes, man. All right, let's move on to yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be cold, like, 30, 40 degrees or something like that, or in that range, but when you get below freezing, it's like, yikes. Yeah, Jared, I would absolutely be willing to do a thing where I, built a space that would be, taking input from the crowd. Actually, I guess that should be mind test phase 2, shouldn't it? Phase 1 will be me learning it and then building a place. And then I guess phase 2 will be building a second place with you guys helping me. What do I got all over my piece of wood here? Yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun. Let's go here this way. So yeah, Tim, I know I've never been to Washington, but it is purported to be, well, it's part of the Pacific Northwest, right? So the Pacific Ocean is a good moderator of temperature, right? That's the theory anyway. But yeah, rain, right? Lots of rain. Isn't there like a non-tropical rainforest up in Washington? I mean, I guess rainforests are called rainforests by the amount of rain they get, not being tropical, but tropical rainforests obviously are the kind of the most common thing, I think. Oh, did they finally ban TikTok here? I don't use TikTok, or never have. Well, I can't say never have. I kind of almost haven't. I had it for like a minute because I went to sign up for it and I got it. I had set up an account, and I actually interacted. I think the only person I really interacted with was Haley, who was Airlight. That's her channel, Airlight, Haley, A-I-L-Y. But then I went back to go log back in, and it like I couldn't log in. So it's like my login and password didn't work. So I tried to do the, well, let me reset my password, and it like wouldn't let me do it. There was some kind of hassle with it. I thought, what the hell's going on here? So then I decided I'll just make a whole new profile. But then it tells me it can't make a new profile because somebody's already using that email. And I'm like, okay, you won't let me reset my password because it's not a valid email, but then you won't let me create a new thing because you're already using the email. It's like, so which is it? And anyway, so I just got super frustrated and then just said, screw it, I'm not going to use TikTok. It's not worth the pain in my ass. But I understand why the government's trying to be all paranoid. Well, because they're paranoid about the CCP, aren't they? Which, yeah, I suppose there's good reason to be. Xi Jinping is I don't know if he's the nicest guy on the planet. Anyway, I don't want to talk about politics tonight. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of this social media stuff can be pretty, like a lot of people I know, they're just on their phones all the time, and it's pretty ridiculous. I think. I don't know. I don't use my phone in that manner. I use my phone to make phone calls and texts for communication purposes. That's it. And I don't even use it for directions. I get directions of where I'm going before I leave. You know what I mean? And I don't drive anymore anyway, so I haven't driven since I was 40. Yeah, okay, see, it's yeah, I don't know. Here. I don't know, I'm not going to miss it. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to miss it, though. Okay, let's go back over to here and do it this way. Come on, Bill, say something, man. I just blinked out there. I wasn't even talking. Queensland, yikes. So how hot down there now? Because, yeah, you guys are southern hemisphere, so we're winter, you're summer. Well, of course you know that, but... Yeah, right. So I'm not the only one then, James, right? Yeah, I feel the same way, Tim. I mean, I spend enough time on, I'll count YouTube as social media to an extent because of, the fact that I use it to interact with people, because of comments and that kind of thing. But YouTube is really less social media nowadays and more, content creator, really, right? 42C, yikes. Okay, quick, I have to do a thing. So 40 divided by 5 is 8 times 9 is 72, plus the 32, so that's 104 Fahrenheit, roughly, a little bit more than 104 Fahrenheit because of the 2. I rounded that down to 40. Hey, Matthew, thank you. I have thought about it. Actually, I was talking with my nephew, Matthew, about doing simultaneous, because he said that there's actually a kind of a dedicated ASMR Twitch thing. So I don't use Twitch. So I have no idea how that would work. And I won't use Twitter because I think Elon Musk is a Bond villain and a rather stupid one at that. Yeah, 3 cheers for Matthew, everybody. And thank you. It's, as I said earlier, it's like, it all helps, man. It all helps. And here, let's move to the jar. I don't know what sorry about that. My eyes are itchy. Here's the jar. And then I'll break out the Epic Bag O Crinkle. Oh, I saw some stuff about that nasal penny where, he got called out for basically just, what is it? He was like, there's a term for it, which is leaving my brain right now, where he, essentially, I guess the theory is he paid people to play the game for him so he could get to the level. Thanks, Sunshine. I appreciate that. let's do that. Man, I don't know, this sound really, it's just, I really like it. It's just something weird about the kind of the gurgly nature of it. He's disappointed you, Mike? Well, you know, I can't say that he's disappointed me. He's, you know, I suppose disappointed, but I need a much stronger word than disappointed. Wow, cool. I'm glad I could help, Parker. Oh, you mean the jar, Matthew? Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. People that cheat on games like that just seems, well, pretty despicable, frankly. And then, of course, to go, because, yeah, the whole weird back and forth with the guy that called him out on it and whatnot. And I don't know, I find that just ridiculous because, like, dude, you know, everybody now knows that that guy's right and you're a cheater. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, so you know, being the baby and trying to call him names doesn't make you not the cheater. It just makes you a baby. But anyway, so here we go. Okay, so what should I start with? I will start with the rustling. Oops, I've dropped this thing. Hang on. There we go. All right. So how many of you have seen the annual report, so that you've seen the preview of the new crinkle strategy? So we're going to start with the rustling stuff. Does anybody like the rustling except me? Hey Tim, wow. That's very generous of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Concert plans to go see anybody? Hey Mardek. Probably not. I just haven't, well, partially because of, you know, money, although, you know, you guys are helping me out in that regard, and partially just because I'm kind of completely out of touch with who's playing what where, you know. I don't know, maybe I should kind of get my head out of my butt and look around and see what's available. Oops. Wow, that's good news, Dylan, that you finally got it. That's fantastic. At least now you can, you know, get back to using it, right? Man, if I didn't have my computer, I'd be pretty, I don't know, like a fish out of water, right? Because not only do I use it for obviously making the YouTube stuff and all that, and I use it, it's, you know, for recording and all that for music and, you know, trying to get that off the ground. And but it's also how it's how I watch. Well, I say watch TV. I stream things or watch YouTube or that kind of thing. So it's like I'm pretty dependent on my computer here just to, you know, do anything. Okay, hang on. Let me see. I missed some tip to it. You know, Sunshine, I don't upload them. They just automatically, YouTube records them. And if you go to my channel and you click under live, you should be able to see all the past live streams. They should all be there. And I don't know how long it takes them after I'm done for them to pop up on YouTube. I assume it's pretty quick, maybe even instantaneous. I don't know. When I'm done, I just kind of turn it all off and, you know, sign off, say goodnight to you guys, and then I go find something to chill out and get ready to go to bed. I mean, this has turned into my Saturday night socializing. I mean, you guys are my Saturday night crowd now. Yeah, it's a lot healthier than when I used to hang out at bars, that's for sure. I'm not familiar with Alter Bridge, but I'll have to look into that. Wow, well, it sounds like you had a great time there, Rob. Fantastic. Right on, Marduk. I hope that they can be at all useful to you. Sure thing, Sunshine. Okay, right away, right on. Okay, let's move on to the next bit of crinkly stuff. Let's see, I'll put this over here for the moment. Well, you're welcome, Mike. Glad to be around, you know. I guess I should try to do some babble. Oh, okay, Creed with a different singer, all right. Wow, sorry to hear about that, Mike. Here now and go say something, I don't know, babble something, just say something, Bill. Just whisper something into somebody's ear there for a second, yeah. Oh, I did. Hey, MSE 3700. Okay, Matthew, so when it comes to German, I studied it in junior high for 1 year, I studied it in high school for 3 years, and I studied it in college for 3 semesters. And once upon a time, I was pretty reasonably fluent. Oopsie daisy, that just clipped the mics. Hope that wasn't too horrible for you guys. Right now I'm just basically reading the words because I remember the pronunciation rules for German, because German is really, really consistent with its pronunciation rules. So my comprehension is, you know, next to non-existence. I'm hoping to kind of brush up on it, frankly, just because why not? You know, I once had the skills, so it shouldn't be that hard for me to kind of, you know, put a little effort in and maybe get it back to a certain degree. But that's it. I just speak English, really. I feel kind of bad about that. When I was in the Netherlands, let's see, the first time was 93, I guess. Is that right? Yeah, I guess 93. And and the next time was in '98. But like everybody I knew spoke multiple languages. Like a lot of them spoke, well, of course, Netherlands, and then, but like almost everybody spoke English, and well too. And holy mackerel, dogs are going nuts. And yeah, Flemish as well. In the Netherlands, I think they just call it Netherlands. But you know, use shorthand Dutch, I suppose. Yeah. But most of them spoke English, and a lot of them spoke German as well, or French. You know, so it was like. Okay, let's do the old tried and true small bubble wrap. Oh, and speaking of the German thing, I think it's tomorrow. I've been trying to record things and schedule them ahead of time, so I think there's a video coming out tomorrow, and I think it's me reading Goethe some more. If it's not the Goethe one, then it's going to be Nettie and Becky, but I'm pretty sure it's Goethe. Okay, hang on, these things are getting ahead of me. You know, I have seen some of David Lynch's early films a long time ago. The only name that I remember is The Grandmother. But I saw, you know, I've seen, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 of his shorts that are all from, you know, back then. And of course, I saw Eraserhead, but I couldn't tell you anything about it because I was intoxicated. You know what I mean? Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if most of them have some kind of required thing that, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know, you just meet so many people that speak English so effectively, you know. Again, it made me feel a little kind of like, yikes. Underprepared, I suppose, is one way of thinking about it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun when I was there. I was there for, both times I was there for 3 months because, well, I was there I was there kind of to work as well as to just sort of hang out and have fun because there was an artist that I used to work for, and he moved to the Netherlands, and he invited me over to do some stuff with him. So that was pretty cool. But it ended badly. We had a falling out, or rather, you know, well, I won't go into it, but we had a falling out, so I left. And yeah, no, I don't really watch Twitch. I should probably check it out, though. Stroopwafel. I had fish in Holland. I don't know that I had the stroopwafel. That doesn't ring any bells. I didn't have a lot of dessert while I was there. A lot of what we ate was from this place that was really close to the place I lived, and it was a Suriname restaurant. And it was really interesting because a lot of the food was this strange, like, I'm not sure how to, it was like, there was certainly some Indonesian influence going on, which makes sense because of, the Dutch being, pretty heavily present in Indonesia. But no, I missed the Van Gogh Museum. I don't even know how that happened, but I missed the Van Gogh Museum. How ridiculous is that? I never saw the Top Gun movies. I'm not a big Tom Cruise? I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan. No, I didn't see the Anne Frank house. That was by choice, because I think it would have, I felt at the time where my head was at, in both cases, actually, even though it was several years apart. It's just like, I was afraid it was just going to be too much of a bummer for me, you know what I mean? So I missed it. Most of the stuff I went to go see art-wise wasn't really, like the only art thing I went to see that was in a museum is in Amsterdam. There's a building, the Neukerk, which I think just means new church, the new church is really funny because I think it's like from the 14th or 15th century, you know what I mean? Maybe even older than that. But there was some old, like, one of the things there was a Pompeii thing. There was a touring Pompeii exhibit that we went to go see, and then there was a couple of things like that. But otherwise, I wasn't. Well, because since I was working with this guy Max, well, actually his name was Max Springer. He's dead now, but we were busy a lot, trying to do work really. He was trying to move into doing some multimedia stuff. He was a painter, essentially, but he was, this is, especially in '98, he was really trying to get it, kind of maybe branch out into doing multimedia because of digital. So we were like, a mattress brand, right? Yeah, we did go, I did do a little bit of just kind of wandering around and looking at old buildings. But like the house I lived in was like from the 14th century or 15th century, something like, I think it was the 14th century. It had these really thick walls, like crazy thick, and it had this weird basement area. I mean, it was a just strange old building. It was cool, but most of the time I spent in any kind of gallery stuff was galleries that I went around with Max because he had stuff in places, being displayed or whatever. So I was really kind of, that's, where a lot of my effort was being spent, was going around to those places and interacting with various, curator and gallery, I don't remember what you can call anybody's title, frankly, but, yeah, so no, I didn't see the Rembrandt either. So there's a lot of things I missed in that regard, but, I did hang out a lot in this bar that I suspect the owners of were drug dealers. I did, I saw more castle-type stuff when I went to go visit my friend Steve in the UK. Use the bread wrapper. Coffee houses, yeah. Coffee houses, of course. And there was a couple of times I went and we did bar hopping and wandered through the red light just for, because it's a spectacle to behold. I had thought about actually, hiring the services, of somebody there, but I was just kind of overwhelmed by the whole thing, frankly. Nefarious. whisper, whisper, whisper over here. Da, 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 da. What place would I pick? I think I'd pick Puerto Rico. Yeah, you're right. Heineken is different beer in the Netherlands than it is. Let me get out the big bag. The big bag. Oh. Yeah, I did eat Gouda cheese while I was over there. I ate a lot of cheese while I was over there. Actually, a lot of the cheese I wouldn't remember the name of, frankly. Yeah, Matthew, I am going to be starting a Patreon probably this month, between now and the end of the month. And I don't know about YouTube memberships yet. I actually got sent an invitation by YouTube to participate in a thing called, oh, I don't remember the full title of it, but essentially it's membership boot camp to learn how to, make the best use of YouTube membership. So, yeah, Northern Lights was super popular when I was there. And yeah, I did a fair amount of indulging. Let's do this kind of over here so it's more extremely there. Rich, right now the only way to contribute to the channel is via the YouTube thanks button, which is usually like, I think, in the lower right of, like kind of to the right of like the thumbs up stuff, I think. I think that's where it's at. That's funny, you watch YouTube all the time and it's like, is that where it is? Oh yeah, I guess it's super chats on the live stream, isn't it? But it functions the same way. It's essentially the thanks button. Yes, I did have Belgian chocolate. Do you have any favorite sports? Not really. I'm not much of a spectator sports sort of person. Every once in a while I'll kind of get interested in a particular sport now and again, and it varies. I like watching, usually I like watching the Olympics, although I didn't watch them the last time around. I don't know, I find that kind of interesting at times, especially track and field stuff. No, I'm not going to watch the Super Bowl. When I was a kid, I really liked watching football, but as an adult, the only times I really watch football is if I'm hanging out with a friend who's into it, you know what I mean? Because then the enthusiasm becomes contagious. Well, thanks, Rich. I appreciate that. And the truth is, I haven't really watched football with any kind of regularity since I gave up drinking booze. You know what I mean? Once in a while, I'll catch the World Cup bug, too, when it comes around. Yeah, they do, Matthew, they do. Actually, I mean, I think, especially here in the U.S., any kind of sports spectating is, tends to go with booze, right? I mean, they'll happily sell you booze at the events, right? For a while, I was pretty enthusiastic about well, it wasn't the WNBA, Dad, it was the ABL. That's what I was just about to say. I was kind of into the San Jose Lasers. And Jennifer Azzi was the guard who was, man, she had incredible, I don't remember the numbers, but she had like really, really good like free throw stats, and she had just really good stats in general, but I just remember her free throw stats were like really high. Well, sorry to hear that your team lost, man. That's pretty funny, Rob, about the car. I haven't seen that Mission. I don't even know if I've seen any of the Mission Impossible movies. Like I said, I'm just not that much of a Tom Cruise fan. Well, it's not so much. Well, I suppose in a way it could be admirable depending on your perspective, Rich. But for me, it was sort of. I was a blackout drunk, and I had an issue, and some doctors said, "Dude, you have to stop drinking, or else." So I decided to listen to the doctors. Unpardonable sin. For me, it wasn't so much the liver, but oh, I see what you mean, Dad. For me, Marduk, it was essentially the whole body system, including my neurology. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate that. Okay, that's enough crinkly crinkle. We only got like around 45 minutes left. I think I'm going to try and go to this game. Now I'm going to put a caveat on this because I don't really know much about it. But I kind of wanted to leave it that way on purpose. Just so, you know what I mean? So we could just sort of, I don't know. My idea was thinking that we could just sort of discover it together, so. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm glad that my content works for you, Rich. I'll take that compliment. Okay, yeah, I'll do a little bit more tapping, and then I'll go play the game. So I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Is that Vilsk? VLL? Is that V? Or is it VIISQE? Visk? Yeah, the wood sound is pretty good, huh? I don't know, there's just something I find appealing about just, some old chunk of 2x4, Just some old chunk of 2x4. Let's move over here. Let's do this a little bit on the way over. Thanks, Rich. Do I get tingles to my own ASMR? Yeah, I guess I do. Not so much from my speech, so much, but like when I do other stuff. So like the crinkly stuff and the tapping stuff and stuff like that, I do. I mean, there's times I've given myself tingles, doing it here live. I suppose I should say, oh, there we go, you know what I mean, when it happens. Just so that way, Yeah, I know what you mean, Marduk. I think a lot of that's, I think, down to the VISC. Is that how? But, the YouTube kind of, they've sort of corporatized the whole platform, really. And so YouTube, or the ASMR is no real exception, right? There's people that are doing it. And I've made this complaint before. I think there are people making ASMR who don't actually get ASMR, you know what I mean? Like they don't have tingles or get tingles or whatever. I think they just see it as a thing that's popular enough and it seems like it's probably easy enough for them to do that they could, get a following and, and so on and so forth. And I've said this before, and I'm going to pre-apologize for the thing because it's, it is a bit sexist, I suppose. But there's a lot of very attractive women that fall into that category where it's like I don't think they get ASMR. I think they just went, oh, I can, turn this into a sort of a career of sorts, or some of them, because I've seen them that they have other channels for stuff, and I think they just, oh, I'll do an ASMR channel too because they just see it as being kind of contributing to their popularity, I suppose. Hey, Silly Willy. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to move over to this thing here. So let's go to, I want to go to here. There we go. So now, yeah, I know what you mean, Rich. It's just sort of, I mean, they're attractive and whatnot, but I think part of the reason that some of them aren't successful, which is why I suspect that they don't get ASMR, is because they don't really seem to understand, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times they're just a little too harsh. All right, so I can see what's going on here. Okay, so press any key for the menu. They have other I know what you mean, Rob. Okay, I'm going to click any other key now and see what it does. Wait, hang on. So press any key for the main menu. I thought I just did that. Okay, something's up here. It doesn't seem to be really responding to me in any meaningful way. Well, what if I do? I don't know what's going on here. Why won't it respond? Press any key for main menu. I pressed a key. I don't see a menu. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go find a help thing to figure out how this works. This doesn't seem to be. I see stuff kind of going, press any key for main menu. I just did that. All right, I think this is a flop. It doesn't seem to be. If I do. All right, well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to abandon this. I'll have to, actually, I was hoping to just kind of, well, whatever. My big plan is failing. So I guess I just don't understand how this is supposed to work. I'll have to do some homework and then maybe see if this is suitable for doing on the live stream. I was kind of hoping it would just be sort of a fun, weird thing to try. But anyway, let's go back to the comments real quick, and then I'm going to up. So let's go back to the basic scene here. Let me see what's going on here. Up. Yeah, I know what you mean, Tim, about the number of subscribers, it seems, you know. Yeah, I found that the name appealed to me. It was in the repository for Pop OS. And I thought, oh, that seems interesting. But I don't know. I guess I'll have to look into it, see if I can get it to work. But then I'll try to revisit it in the future. I chose Linux because, well, I haven't had a lot of experience with Mac, and it's been a long time since I did. But when I did, I didn't like it. And I don't like Microsoft for a lot of reasons. But part of it is that they just seem to be really, well, they've been very predatory in their business practices, but they're also they just seem to be, like, it seems to me that their latest mindset and culture is that your machine isn't really your machine. It exists for their OS to be on, right? So they kind of view it as all theirs. And it's not really your OS. You haven't bought it. You know what I mean? You've bought a license to use it, but it's theirs. That seems to be kind of the way they think about it, which I'm like, no, it's mine, man. I bought it, you know? So yeah, anyway, and I've used Linux in the past, and I just, it's more stable, it's more secure. Like when I was doing videos and I was doing them on Windows, the machine would crash a lot if you taxed the processor. And I've had this doing stuff, and I haven't crashed this machine yet. You know what I mean? And I've had it for a couple of years now, and it runs, you know, a lot of times it just runs all the time. But like I've had it compiling stuff, or, you know, doing rendering, you know, a video, and then I'll go do other things and let it do the rendering, and I never have any issues. I haven't had any issues at all. So. Okay, anyway, so let's get back to that. Yeah, I know what you mean, Marek. Yeah, I mean, I remember everybody was like calling them, like, you know, whisper videos or stuff like that back in the day. Yeah, and it seemed back in the day it was a little bit more community oriented. At least that's the way it felt to me. But, you know, we've been over this before, so I don't need to babble on too much about it. You know, I don't know that I can explain that game because I don't understand it. So that's why I'm going to have to do some homework and revisit it in the future. Dozing off then, eh, Mike? Yeah, I know what you mean, Tim. That's certainly true. Linux man, right. What is his name? Linus Torvald or something like that? Well, you know, since I'm not doing that, no, I still enjoy Codebreaker. You know, with that in mind, let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and kill Allure of the Stars. So I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to start this here. Where will it go? Let's put this over here. Right, I'm going to take, let me go to here real quick. Hang on a second, I want to go to here. And let's do this. I'm going to pick a different window. Doink, doink, doink. Let's do that there. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do this. Let's move this over to here. Oh, I don't need it to be that big. What am I doing? There we go. That should be fine. Like that. All right, now let me do this. Okay, now I have to redo this again. Holy mackerel, you screwy thing. That should be all right now. And then now let me go to here. And we'll go to Codebreaker. And oh, you know, that's bright. Let me switch this back on. Oh, let's do this. Doink. Okay. All right, there we go. Codebreaker. Anyway, let me go back. Seems like I've missed some comments here. Well, you know, Matthew, there's a lot of support and stuff available online to help you with the Linux thing. All right, yeah, there we go. Let's see. Can I explain what's wrong with Microsoft? I think they're predatory, and I think they make a lousy product. And you know, yeah. Anyway, I have found a substitute though. Chico, so yeah, it's mine test. So I'm going to be, that will be being part of the gameplay rotation fairly soon, I hope. Yeah, I did like the cars, Rich. Oh, the amusement folder is where I keep the games. That's where this is in the Codebreaker is in the amusement folder. Oh, I guess when I click the thing, the menu doesn't show up for you guys, does it? Fisherman's Wharf? Oh, it's been probably a few months. Maybe even longer than that. Yeah, it's been longer than that. It's probably been about a year. I just don't get over to the city very much anymore, which I should, you know, hopefully I'll be able to change that because I really like going over there. Anyways, let's do, here we go, let's do this. Let's just do the typical, well, let's just start with the single color version first. And then I don't know, we'll just wing it. How's that sound? So red is in. Let's toss in orange. Oh yeah, I'm in Castro Valley, Mike, so I'm up in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm just south of Oakland. So yeah, I'm a good ways away. Content that wouldn't fit in my channel, you know? I'm not sure. Well, you know, there is a thing. Oh, crap, I forgot how to say your name. Is it VISC or VISC? Well, I'm sorry, I screwed it up, I'm sure. I had thought about doing an ASMR reading of stuff from a book called The Pearl. And The Pearl was a Victorian era sort of a zine, I suppose, you know. But it was essentially porn literature. And it was all about, like, you know, people, you know, having sex with their maids and, you know, that kind of thing. And some of it gets pretty, like wow. Some of it's very, very kinky and weird and very strange. But I thought about, you know, doing, like, you know, like rated X, you know, porn literature ASMR. And I've kind of not done that just because I think that might be pushing the envelope a little bit. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate the comment about the nonconformity. Yeah, I'm a nonconformist sort of guy. Have been since I was a kid. Yes, I've been to the big trees up in it's in the, like, north of San Francisco. Yeah, I've been there a bunch. Yeah, those things are fantastic. Those trees are they're just astonishing. And there's one that got, I don't remember whether somebody cut it down or whether it fell down or what. Anyway, there's one of the, like, little kind of ranger areas where there's an information thing. There's one where there's a section of it, so you can see the cross section of it, and they have, like, little tags, so you can see, like, what happened, you know, at which, because you know how trees, like, they're, you know, they do a ring every year kind of thing. And so it's like, oh, here's when, you know, and it's like, it's so old that it's like, you know, it's hundreds and hundreds of years old. So it's like, you know, oh, here's when, you know, before the U.S., and then, you know, here's when Columbus arrived here, and here's, you know, I mean, it shows you all this stuff. Yeah, I've been to the Napa wine country too, yes. Wait, hang on, Tim says what? No, they're not gone, Tim. I just don't have sex with people. Anyway, so let's see what I'm doing here. So I'll pick orange to go there, and I'll move red. And that neither one is in the right place, so I'll move them each one more. And I will add green. And one of them is in the correct spot, but the other two are not. I'm going to guess that green is in the right spot, and I will continue to move the orange and the red. And now let's add the light blue. And interesting. All right, let's say maybe it's still the green. Let's see, red only has one more place to go, as does orange. Light blue will take up one of these spots. Let's see about dark blue. What do you know? Wow, good guess. On the green, I mean, because, you know, that's kind of how everything else fell into place. And we'll put the light blue in here, so it's either purple or magenta. We'll throw it in the purple. And now it's going to be the magenta. And this will end up being code cracked. And there we go. What do you know? Okay, what's going on with that? No, I've never done scuba. I've done, like, you know, with just a snorkel, I guess, is, you know, with snorkeling. The thing is, though, a lot of places in California, the water is not all that clear, you know. Although I guess there's, you know, I guess it depends on where you go. I mean, I suppose there's pretty decent diving depending on where you are, but all the places I've been, you know, and again, I wasn't really that into it. It's just a silly thing that we did, you know. A classic, what do you know, right? How did I come across this game? I searched for it because I liked the game. Um, yeah, you know, snorkel, the tube that, you know, you wear the fishing mask and the little tube that just goes up, so you don't have a tank, so you can't go that deep, you know, but you can kind of have your face underwater and be looking at stuff while you're actually just breathing air. So let's go check out the ring, shall we? And still haven't found the spot for it. There we go. So that's where magenta lives. So now let's put in the purple. What do you know? So magenta and purple. Let's put in the dark blue. Wow. Bing, bing, bing. What do you know? So let's try the light blue. Holy mackerel. So now let's try the green. Okay, green's not in it. Let's try the yellow. Yellow's not in it. Okay, we want to keep that one. 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 I should be here now. Let's put in orange. Okay, so orange is this one. Right now I have to make my way around to that first orange. I'm there. I should be here. I should be there. I should be there. This should be here, and I should be red now. There you go. What do you know? All right, let's see about comments. All right, let's just do start with a two-color thing, I guess, for a minute. Okay, only one of them. I'll pick red. Now let's throw in yellow. And okay, so did I pick the wrong spot for the red, or does yellow go there? I'm going to say I picked the wrong spot for the red and try this. Let's see what happens. Okay, but if red goes there and green's out, that means it's just the rest of these. So let's put them in, and we'll find out if it was in fact red. Otherwise, I'll have to go back and pick up the orange and the yellow. Okay, so it was not the red. So let's try the orange there. We know yellow has to go here. Green. Let's just put green here, I guess. And I'll put, hang on, come on, go there. There we go. Now I'll put in light blue and then dark blue. See what that gets me. Okay, so yellow is fine. Orange goes over here. Now I have two different places to still try for green. Let's put it over here. So one of these is right, but not the other one. I'm going to say light blue is fine. And let's put in the purple. Hey, what do you know? Good guess. You know, Rich, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I've never been diagnosed as being on the spectrum. I do have a mood disorder, so I am somewhat bipolar. I mean, mildly by comparison to other people that I've known in my life. But I'm on pills, so I'm, you know, I think I function much better than I used to without being on pills. Yeah, so I don't know, but yet I have no reason to believe that I'm autistic because nobody's diagnosed me that way. But yeah, I don't know. I'm an oddball, so who knows? Well, I'm glad you enjoy watching me play them anyway. That's cool. I mean, it's not required that you take them up, right? You know what I mean? I'm doing it to entertain you guys. So let's do another ring, I guess. You're on bills. That's funny. Nihilism? I don't know. I suppose it depends on to what extreme you want to take it. I mean, if you just want to simply, have a belief in nothing because, you know, you want you lack the idea that there's anything worth believing in. I suppose that can still be a constructive and worthwhile perspective. But there's a lot of people that take nihilism to an extent that's like, self-destructive. Kind of like, since there's no dictated point to the universe, there can't be any point. And it's like, I don't buy that. For me, it's like you find your own point. So, I don't know. But that's my take on it. Pop, pop, pop. So those two are correct there. I should be here now. And all right, we'll keep the magenta. I should be here now. Still not there. There we go. So purple, magenta, dark blue. So I'm here. Let's throw in the light blue. Wow, what do you know? We'll keep the purple. I'm here now. Let's throw in the green. Wow, there's a green. I'm going to keep the magenta. So we're just trying to fill this spot now. Try yellow. What do you know? There we go. You don't think I'm that much of an oddball? Well, that's cool. I'll take that. Yeah. Oh, well, I try to be pretty, open. And when I say I'm an oddball, I just mean that, I don't fit a lot of just norms of things, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, so, I mean, I suppose it depends on your perspective of what you think is odd or not. A fair number of people think I'm, fairly strange. Anyway, it's fine. I don't, I'm fine with who I am. So, but I try to be, especially here with you guys, because it's like if I'm going to have this thing work, it needs to work in a realistic manner. And I think trying to play some weird character of a human that I'm not for the simple purposes of, trying to gain an audience or something just seems more work, more trouble than it's worth, Yeah, I do have a little bit of swing back and forth. Um, yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the simplest way of describing it, I guess. Thank you, Marduk. So let's try to do the 3-color thing. Oh, only one of them. Okay, well, let's try the red. And let's throw in the green and see what that gets us. And, well, let's see if this is what it is. And it's not. Okay, so it's going to be one of the other two here. Let's try the orange. And one of these greens. Come on now. Pick that up. There we go. And then I'll just go this way. Say light blue, dark blue, purple. Wow, okay, so which four? Well, we know the orange is good. We know the green is in, so it's good. So 2 of these 3 are in. We know for sure magenta is. Let's just put magenta somewhere. I'll put magenta over here, and then I'll say it's the dark blue and the purple. Wow, I've been making good guesses on these, choice issues here. If I was that weird, you wouldn't watch. Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. And I kind of made a choice that, like, if I'm going to do this, I just have to just be me. Part of it is also I'm lazy as fuck. You know what I mean? The idea that I'd have to, keep track of a bunch of details in my life that aren't real just to, to be able to present some kind of persona just seems like not worth the effort. When was the last time I visited Haight-Ashbury? Would have been the same time that I was over to visit Fisherman's Wharf, because I was over with my niece. And, oh no, that was a different time. So it would have been shortly before that. So it was about a year ago. Yeah, so yeah, it's about a year ago, something like that. Oh, Haight-Ashbury is pretty. I mean, it's very much a place to buy trinkets and stuff. You know what I mean? It's not anything like what it was way back when. I mean, there's still some okay things going on there, to be sure, but there's lots of head shops that are, there to sell stuff like, tie-dye T-shirts that say Haight-Ashbury on them. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, which is fine, I guess. It's just, it's like a lot of things that, over time, it gets established and it becomes commercialized, right? Because somebody can make some money out of it, so they're going to, It's not necessarily bad, I suppose. What time are we at here? 13 minutes left. You know what? Given that, I'm going to go switch back to the regular thing here. And I'll just do some tapping as we... I think the Summer of Love is 67, actually. 67 or 68, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. But yeah, it's late 60s anyway. Places to visit that aren't tourist traps. Your laziness gets competitive. Well, there are places that have strong tourist draws, but they're still worth seeing. So, like any of the natural, like the park stuff, like Yosemite, or the redwood stuff, that's good. There's also a park. It's kind of central California. I think it's. I think probably Paso Robles is the place nearest to it. It's Pinnacles. It's a park that's very interesting. So that's kind of all very nature oriented. San Francisco, I like Fisherman's Wharf. It's super touristy, but I enjoy it. And Haight-Ashbury is worth seeing. Just have your expectations set that there's going to be a lot of touristy stuff going on. But otherwise, I would say, I was going to say the museums in San Francisco, but you have to be careful of when you go, because museums in big cities like San Francisco get, they have quite a draw. But one of the places, if you can, that I'll recommend is the California Academy of Science. That's a really cool place. Any of the other museums, like, the De Young or the Modern or whatever, those are all fine. San Diego, I would, the beaches are great, fantastic. Last time I was at the San Diego Zoo, it was fantastic, but again, those are kind of touristy places. Where would you go if you weren't trying to do touristy things? Here in Castro Valley, there's a park called Lake Chabot that's really nice. There's some walking paths, so you can walk all the way. It's a reservoir lake, but it's it all looks pretty natural. I think it was a natural lake that they just sort of decided to use as, reservoir kind of storage water placement. I'm trying to think, so where would I take, there's a place that you should go in San Francisco is the Exploratorium. That is a fantastic it's a interactive museum. It's science-oriented thing, but it's really, really cool. It is really super cool. And if you do decide to take my advice and go there, go to their website and look at when it's available, and reserve time and pay the extra money to go into the tactile dome. What the tactile dome is, it's essentially the Exploratorium is this big space that they just use all kind of, you just have stuff going on there, just like all sorts of, stuff. Although, wait a minute, I don't know that they have the tactile dome at the new location because they moved a few years ago. I have to look at that now. Bear with me a quick sec. I'm going to go over to this one. I'm going to say, come on now. What in the world is going on here? There we go. Thank you. Um, okay, do they still have a... Okay, I guess they still have it there, yeah. I just realized last time I was over there, I don't remember whether I saw it or not. My brain just did a brain fart. Anyway, so there's this thing called the Tactile Dome, and it's this dome, and you enter into it, and you take off your shoes because you're going to be crawling around. So bear that in mind. If you go there, you're going to be crawling around. But after you get into the door of it, it's black. There's no light. So you have to make your way through the thing just by sense of touch. And it's not a maze. Like, you can't get lost in it. You just keep going forward. But it's called the Tactile Dome because you crawl through all of these weird surfaces. Essentially, they make these tubes, so you actually have to get down on all four and crawl. But it's just weird fabrics and stuff and just textures. It's just really strange. But you're making your way through it without any light, except for in the middle of it. So kind of the halfway point, there's a little spot that's really, really, really dimly lit that you kind of can sit in for a few minutes to relax. Because some people get kind of like, oh my goodness, it gets overwhelming. And they monitor the thing pretty well. So like if you panic or anything like that, they can get you out, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's a really, really, really good experience. And if you've got the nerve, if you go in altered, it can be quite a crazy thing to experience. But yeah, and Napa Valley is a good thing. I forget about that because I don't go there anymore because I don't drink anymore. So, but yeah, if you enjoy wine and stuff like that, if you like dim sum, the food thing, Chinese like brunch food, there's Yank Sing is a restaurant in San Francisco that does dim sum, and they have a Michelin star for doing so. So that's something. Yeah, I'd recommend that. I've been there a few times. Yeah, the Tactile Dome is crazy. I've never been to Alcatraz. That's crazy, huh? I've lived here like for years and years, off and on between here and San Diego, but most of my time has been spent here in the Bay Area. And I've never been over to Alcatraz. I've been to Angel Island. Actually, that might be an interesting thing to go check out. Angel Island was where people went instead of, what was it? It's Ellis Island is where immigrants went through on the East Coast through New York. Angel Island was the place where they did that on the West Coast through San Francisco, and that's pretty interesting. Yeah, also the Chinatown. Chinatown is super touristy, but Chinatown is fantastic in San Francisco. I mean, there's these stores that you can go into, like you walk in, and like at the edge of the sidewalk where you're walking, they'll have all these like really cheesy, cheap, touristy doodads and stuff. That's, well, whatever it is, what it is. It's stuff that people buy, but you can walk into the place, and then it has nicer, more interesting stuff. But you can get farther deep into the place, and they'll have really expensive stuff, like these really expensive Chinese vases and stuff and whatever. And you're like, how do they have all of this stuff in the same place, man? It's just crazy. Yeah, Angel Island had a lot to do with the Chinese immigrants. Absolutely. Not limited to Chinese immigrants, of course, but yeah, they probably would have been a big chunk of them, if not the majority, just because of, where else would they have come from, you know what I mean? Or, I mean, where else would, Chinese immigrants go through, right? I don't remember exactly when they turned it off or stopped using it, to be honest. Yeah, it's a crazy place, San Francisco. Well, the other cool thing about it is that it's small. It is really, really small. It's 49 square miles, that's it. And I've walked across it several times. You know what I mean? It's not that big a deal. It's, well, depending on which hill you end up, if you have to go over hills, it could be a pain in the butt. But you could walk from, like like, oh, what do they call that? There's this park that's right there, Fort Mason, I guess, and all of that. And then you can go and you can walk through this little area. You can get from like the Golden Gate Bridge to Fisherman's Wharf walking. You know what I mean? It's not that big a deal. Yeah, we didn't do a lot of nice things to Asian immigrants, especially Chinese. Yeah, I live, it's probably 30 miles from San Francisco, and yeah, it's, you know, it's roughly a square, so yeah, 7 by 7, something like that, yeah. I mostly walk, otherwise I'll use public transportation, and when I lived in San Francisco, I used my bike to commute to work. Since I moved here to the East Bay, I don't use the bike that much anymore, but I should probably get back on the bike. It'd be, you know, healthier for me. But mostly I walk. I'm a pedestrian by, you know, habit, I guess. Unless I have to go to great distances, like when I go see a doctor or something. My doctors are a good bit away from me, so I walk into downtown Hayward to catch a bus. Um, and or if I have to get to the city or down to Fremont or something like that, yeah, you know. And no, I haven't seen Alcatraz. That's, yeah, nope, nope. You know, you might be the only Australian. Although sometimes I get more than, you know, so you're not the only one who does show up on the live stream. So if you're interested, show up in the future, because there are a few people that do show up now and again who are from Australia. Okay, we're getting down inside of, let's like, you know, 2 minutes and something. So if there's any last minute burning questions people have, now would be the time. Because I mean, I don't turn off the stream precisely at the buzzer, but I try to keep it down because it's easier for my back if I, you know, if I just limit it to a certain reasonable amount of time. So it's sort of a self-imposed limit, right? But I can change my mind at the drop of a hat if I so choose. Well, you know, let me know when you visit. I wouldn't mind, you know, if you have any interest in, you know, interacting, we could, you know, maybe meet up someplace and, well, maybe we could meet up at, you know, Fisherman's Wharf and just kind of hang out. I used to like to go there to people watch. Yeah, that would be fine, Rich. If you're ever in San Francisco, you don't have to take me to lunch, but if you so desire, sure, I'll accept a lunch from you. But we could just go wander around and, oh, you know, go to Golden Gate Park. If you come to San Francisco, go to Golden Gate Park, especially the AIDS Memorial Garden. That's a really, 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 really beautiful place. That's where we scattered my uncle's ashes when he passed away. Well, because he died and he had AIDS. Um, but yeah, it's a really, really gorgeous space. But a lot of the whole Golden Gate Park is really, really fantastic place. Silly Willy, no, I've never been recognized in public, really, but I did get recognized once because a friend of one of my nieces, when she was in high school, was somebody who had seen my videos a few times. And so we kind of interacted for a second. It was really weird, you know, kind of like, oh, wow, okay. Okay, so you're only a year younger than me. Right on. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, Rob. It was my niece invited a friend over, and it was like, hey, I know who you are. It's like, yeah, okay. It was kind of weird for a second, but you know. An Australian to visit in America. You know, I'm not very well traveled in the United States. I would say California, of course, because I'm from here, and there's a lot of, I mean, California, well, if you like nature, California has pretty much everything. We've got mountains, we've got deserts, we've got the beaches, we've got, you know, we've got lots of cool stuff to see from when it comes to natural sort of surroundings thing. Um, but so I'm probably not the, oops, the timer just went off. So let me go get that guy. And here we go, do it. Blink, okay, you're done, that's fine. And there we go, I can do that, there we go. It's out of my way now. So, um, oh, in San Francisco, no, I wouldn't know any place that's cheap. There is nothing that is cheap in San Francisco. San Francisco is one of them. Well, it's always one of the most expensive places to be. I don't know if it's still true, but for a while it used to go back and forth between San Francisco and New York, which was the most expensive place to, for rents. Um, I suspect New York might have gotten ahead and stayed there probably since the pandemic, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But nonetheless, it's always a super expensive place to stay. I mean, when I lived there, the only reason I could afford it was because my roommate, well, it's where my uncle lived when he died, and the guy Gary that used to be my roommate was friends of my uncle's, and he was an old guy. He was in his 70s when I was like in my late 40s into my 50s. But he'd been there since the 80s. And so, that part of San Francisco, I think every place is rent controlled, but our apartment was rent controlled. So we had really, really reasonable rent because he'd been living there, like I said, since the 80s. So it was, a really cool place to be. And it was it was an old Victorian, high ceilings, crown molding, big bay window in the front, that whole kind of thing. It was a really fantastic place. Actually, if you look at my early videos, you can see part of where I lived in there. But if you're looking for less expensive places to stay in the Bay Area, I would say find a city that's on one of the BART. So you could use BART to get into the city because you don't want to park in the city. It's just a pain in the butt. But I would recommend, well, maybe even someplace like Castro Valley or Hayward or whatever, or San Leandro, something like that, and then just BART over. Yeah, suburbs, right? Yeah, so yeah, try. Yeah, I mean, Castro Valley, Hayward, San Leandro, anything like Oakland, I would say is but yeah, I won't say Oakland because there's sketchy parts of Oakland, and you could find yourself in a place that you didn't want to be in. Um, uh, Contra Costa, although Contra Costa County might get so like Orinda, places like that might be kind of pricey though too. Fremont's probably okay. Um, but I would just say I live in Castro Valley. It's an unincorporated area, so yeah, it's not really a city, but um, I would just put in, when you're looking for a place, just make sure that it's near BART so that you could walk to BART, because then you can get just about anywhere in the Bay Area. Of course, bear in mind, I'm a pedestrian by nature, so I'm going to be pro public transportation. So, but if you're going into San Francisco, don't drive. Parking is a nightmare. And well, in certain places you can, obviously there's parking structures, but man, they charge you for that. You're going to pay for it. Okay, last questions and stuff, and I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to move this over here so I can see what's going on with I haven't been watching the view count this whole time. Looks like we got over 45 for a bit. Yeah, okay. Just fly into whichever airport gives you the best rate. I mean, as far as fare, and then make sure that you can get to and from it via BART. Otherwise you're going to be paying for an Uber or a taxi or something like that. And if you're okay using things like trains, BART is really well designed and well planned out and all of that. The last car I owned, well, okay, there's a weird thing. The last car I owned by habit of it being in my possession was a blue Toyota truck. It was actually my dad's truck, but I had loaned him some money, and rather than pay me back the money, he just let me take possession of the truck. So that was that. But the last car I've owned that was in my name was a 71 VW bus. Just because I loved that car. It was fantastic. I regret getting rid of it. But yeah, whatever. We all do things and regret them. Anyway, okay, gang, I'm going to say goodnight. And you're welcome for the tingles, Matthew. I'm glad you showed up, and I hope everybody else had a good time as well. And thanks for everybody's generosity who tossed me some dough. I appreciate that. And yeah, Rob, these are going to be every week. That's the thing, every week. And if you're interested, I'm toying with the idea of doing a once a month on the WC Postman channel. But that would be on Sundays. Like Sunday morning is what I'm thinking. Is there good Chinese? Yeah, there's some good Chinese. I wouldn't put it in the same category as good Chinese in San Francisco, but there's decent Chinese food near where I live. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, gang. Good night, everybody. I will see you all next Saturday night at 8 p.m. All right. Much love.